Greetings, friends. Welcome to the Let's Get Gritty podcast with yours truly, Dr. India White. I'm super thrilled to be here with you guys. I know so many of us are, getting our professional developments in. We're renewing our certifications, educators, doing what we need to do, and we're planning for future conferences and whatnot. And we're also enjoying our families. I wish all of you the best with that. I want to now get right into our announcements, and then we're going to bring on a fabulous guest. So first things first, the Let's Get Gritty podcast with Dr. India White. It will be featured on Spotify and all of the main social media channels. Speaking of social media channels, you could follow me. I have quite a bit of channels. I've been doing this a hot minute. And of course, as you know, some of these channels are newer than others. And so you can follow me at Facebook. It's Miss India White. LinkedIn is The India White. Twitter is Indie Speak and Teach. Instagram is Indie238. YouTube is India White 123, and TikTok is Dr. India White. I also wanted to invite you guys to check out the website whenever you get a chance, which is www.india-white.com. You can go there for books or blogs, or if you're wanting to schedule me for some future events. Thank you to those that are taking advantage of this right now, that are checking out the workshops, those that are asking me to come speak. I will say that the calendar is beginning to really start to pick up. So please get on my schedule whenever you can. Let's get together. Let's work together. I do have some upcoming events I'm excited about. I'll see many of you guys at camp. I'll see some of you all in LA as we do our special trainings there. And I'm excited to be a part of that summit. I'll be at NCSM and NCTM. I'll also see you guys at the Making Math Moments conference. I'm excited to be a part of that as well. Thank you to everyone that is a part of planning these different events and allowing me to be a part. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I also wanted to invite you guys to check out the Grit Mini Workshop. This has been taking off with Grassroots Workshops website with Robert Kaplinsky and the tribe. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, team, for that. Also, if you have students that need to be tutored for the 2024, 2025, and now 2026 school year, please send them my way for the Grit Academy. We'll get them taken care of. And so with that said, I now want to bring on a fabulous guest who I have been able to meet and interact with, and the synergy was there. He is doing so many wonderful things in the realm of education, in particular math education. And so I do want to bring on to this awesome podcast. I want you to welcome with me to the Let's Get Gritty podcast, Rob Byer, who is a growth lead and for Innova Math. We're going to bring him on right now. So welcome, Robert, to the Let's Get Gritty podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Andy. How are you?
I am well. Thank you so much for your time. Now, listen, some people just aren't as blessed. Sorry, I'm going to bring you back. Okay, I will edit this. So thank you so much for your time. I'm so happy to have you on the show. So with that said, I would love it if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Rob Byer. So 7 months ago, I was the executive director for K-12 Math, Science, and STEM at Pittsburgh Public Schools, for the city of Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. And prior to that, I was a math teacher. I worked for an educational service agency here in Pennsylvania. I currently live in Pittsburgh, and last September, I ran into a bunch of Spaniards from Madrid and Barcelona, primarily whole Barcelona, that at Innova Math at NCSM in Chicago. And we talked math ed for like 45 minutes in the vendor floor, which never happens. Like you normally have your head down, just kind of walk past them really quick. But the energy was infectious. They were absolutely amazing as humans. Like the vibe was amazing. And then since I've joined them, and I've been there for 7 months, like nothing's changed. Like they love math. It's fun to be around, high energy. But there's like 360 of us worldwide, like in 10 countries, all caring about math ed. And what's wild is like people have asked like, hey, why don't you guys do literacy? Why don't you guys do science? And we're like, why don't we do math really well? Right. Yeah, let's worry about math ed, because math ed's a problem, not just in the States, but like worldwide. So
worldwide.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at, professionally. And then like my side hustle is a debate math podcast with Chris Lesniak, where we debate math topics, math pedagogy with math people. And And I say side hustle, we make no money on it. It's just a fun
side gig.
Side. It's just something we love to do. But that's unlocked a lot of really cool relationships in the math ed field where I can learn from a lot of really cool people. So that's kind of what I'm up to now, just kind of professionally.
Wow. Now, excellent. Now, I talk about great resilience in time, and that's what grit is for me. And so I'm going to kind of talk to you about your journey and like how you've been gritty. You're obviously gritty. You're very successful. Congratulations. But what does that look like for the average person? Or what does that look like for someone aspiring to propel into a path of greatness like you have? So how do you take this statement here? Great resilience in time, that being what grit is. How have you been able to apply that to your life?
You know, I firmly believe everything happens for a reason. Now, I have found in my time, not everybody believes that. And some people have an issue with that statement. I believe everything happens for a reason, with whatever power that you believe in. Yeah. So from my times, my very first job working at a children's fitness center, fresh out of college, it was called My Gym Children's Fitness Center. I was the director of operations there, and making $25,000 a year with no extra bonus or anything like that, but working like 70 plus hours a week on 25K. And then wanting to try to get into education, ended up having to move to North Carolina. Had my first child down there in North Carolina. And while we were down there, like it was like the start of when the Common Core came about. And so like there were things that happened while I was down there and people I interacted with that like it meant something. Right. But there was a lot of success, a lot of no's, man, a lot of no's. Trying to get a job in Pennsylvania at the time, I would interview and they were like, yeah, you don't have any experience, so we're going to go a different way. And like, okay, so how do I get experience if nobody's giving me an opportunity? So I had to find it. So I was seeking it. So I moved to North Carolina, had a couple years there. I was coaching basketball and coaching like junior high football and being a math teacher. And at the time I was like, I didn't even know if I wanted to be a math teacher. And then I did not have success. Like all of us who are math teachers, you look back to your first 2-3 years. Like I think Robert Kaplinski talks about like if you look back 5 years and you're proud of how you were as an educator back then you haven't evolved enough.
Right.
And so like that's my issue and my thing is all throughout, what did I learn from? And if I'm looking back 2, 3, 4, 5 years and I'm okay with what happened back then I haven't evolved enough. So there's a lot of no's. So what you're talking about with grit, there was a lot of no's. Like, and then coming back up here, taught in an inner city charter school. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know if I could even teach in an inner city charter school.
Yeah.
Right? And then from there, I went to a very rural school. And that was a whole, like, if anybody who's ever done that, those are two different worlds.
Right.
And, like, going to a rural school and like, I am teaching and, at the time it was still I do, we do, you do, because that's all I knew at the time. I know better now, let's be honest.
Right.
But as I did that and I turned and like, there's crickets, like you don't hear anything. And I'm like, what is happening? But then again, like I'm trying to become an administrator. I got told no a lot. You're not, you don't have it. You're not polished enough. You don't, that was the other thing. You're not polished enough. You're not, you're a little vocal. There's a lot of those things, like getting told, no, hey, you know what? You don't have enough experience. We're not sure where you would fit. Okay. And I just get
overqualified. I've heard that.
Right. To the point where I went to my alma mater in Ohio at one point. Like I thought, and I come from, my dad's been an educator for like 44 years. And I thought for sure I'm going to get hired at my hometown. And they told me no. And it's like, like, what is like, so to your point about the grit, like the no to me, it was never personal. And what people have to understand that professionally, the no isn't personal. The no is no, because this isn't the right fit. And so now you have to, go on that journey where you're looking for the fit.
That's beautiful.
And
Oh my God.
and so I've always chased passion and impact, and I've never chased money. And money will follow, and it's been good, but passion and impact is what I've been chasing.
Yeah.
And so when I left Pittsburgh Public Schools to come to Innovamat, and let me tell you, you want to talk grit, this isn't easy. Going from K-12 education, going into this side of it, like that, this is not easy.
Right.
But it's enjoyable because the impact that we're about to make.
Yes.
Like at Innovamat, like what we believe in math education and how we're getting kids thinking, and like I'm chasing passion. I'm a part of something that's so much larger. 10 countries? Are you kidding me? Like,
wow.
like my hometown had 5 stoplights.
Oh
like, so I hope that answers the question.
Beautiful.
There's a lot there.
It makes me think, Rob, of this question, which is kind of similar. Your personal obstacles of facing no, maybe some other things that you've gone through, and now they propelled you towards the road of success. Do you have any that stick out to you that's like, wow, I went through that, and at the time it was like hell on earth, but here I am today? Can you talk to us about maybe one particular incident that you overcame?
All of them. I think, yeah, I guess the beginning. When I went to North Carolina, I had no idea what I was doing. And I remember very specifically, I had some amazing teachers that surrounded me with love. And they brought me in. Mm-hmm. And there were 2 people in particular who, one has moved out of the classroom, is now like an administrator, and another one who still teaches math. And I keep in touch with the one who still teaches math all the time. And I remember they were sitting me down and like, as we were talking through, and I was just pouring my heart out into like, I don't know how to teach kids, like not these kids or anything. It was like, I don't know how to teach kids.
Yeah.
And they were like, look, remember what it was like to be like, 12 years old.
Right.
And just care about them, love them,
beautiful,
pour your heart into it. And then at the same exact time, I'm looking at my grade book, and like I had so many kids failing. And I call my dad, and I'm like, hey, all these kids are failing. Like, nobody's doing homework. And he's like, wait. Are they failing because they're not doing homework? I'm like, yeah. He goes, why are you giving it?
Oh, wow.
And I was like, whoa.
Yeah, that's
I had to like, I had to think. I had to dive into so that's kind of sent me on a journey of reflection, and always asking the question why I do that.
My question to you is, I want to kind of address that, if that's okay. Yeah. This right here, this point, if students are failing the homework, why are you giving it? How do you help teachers build grit? So you stop giving it, but what about teachers that still have to give it? Maybe their district is making them give it, or how do you help teachers to navigate through this system, this system with many holes in it, to where if they still do have to give give homework, that they can be gritty and find ways to still set students up for success? What advice do you have for them?
So, what is homework for? I ask teachers this all the time. Like, why are we giving homework? And normally they say it's for extra practice. Okay, fair. So if you have, many teachers, kindergarten through 8th grade, have at least, like 60 minutes or more, maybe up to 80, 85 minutes of math, most. Right. I've worked in hundreds of schools at this point. Most, right. That's a very general statement, but very, accurate. So why don't we reshape and shift what we're doing in the classroom to where we can get kids to practice and we can be there to help facilitate. Now, you have to give homework. Okay, that's fine. What does that homework look like? Maybe it's a thinking task, something that is like they can think about and bring back the next day and bring ideas to start off a class. Maybe it's like, hey, here's this one question. I want you to really think about your approach here. Instead of giving me an answer, because when you go home and say, hey, I need to do this answer, if there's a support system at home, many times like they do it for them. So we're getting with the parents or whomever is at home deal with. But if there's not a support system, there may not be any way for them to do it. Now, and even if they do it, they're searching for an answer, a right answer. That's not what this is about. It's about the process. So what if we ask questions about the process? What would your approach be? Ask that. Like, what would it mean to you, like as a student, if a teacher said, "Hey, I want you to, take this word problem home tonight, and when you come back tomorrow, like, tell me everything you know about this problem." That's it.
Yeah.
And then when they come back and they say that, like, then score that, so that way you're still given, a homework grade, because let's be honest,
scoring on their thinking versus on just a systemic thing of I've got to give it because I was told to do it, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Well, and then on top of that, like, okay, so how do we score that? Just create your own little rubric. Like, do a 3-point rubric, like 3, 2, 1. Don't give a 0, but give it like a 3, 2, 1, and then base it on their thinking, base it on their ideas, and like,
I love it.
Let them know that like their ideas matter in a math class, because guess what? It does. So like, it drives me insane when like when we focus so much on that answer, then like if a kid gets a wrong answer, all of a sudden they don't belong in a math class, which is garbage. Like every kid belongs in that math class. So why don't we do something where we're valuing their thinking and their ideas? And now they start to see themselves as like, oh, I belong.
Right. I love that. And the thing that you're saying here that is sticking to me as a past educator, math coach, and assistant principal. So I've been in this realm, and I've had teachers say, well, I've got to give the homework because I have to have a grade book. The grade book is a legal document, and I have to have enough in there. Well, for one, you only need 2 entries, right, to make it an official document. Some teachers have 100, some teachers have 20 increments or 20 entries, which is another conversation, right? As to just the subjectivity to the whole process and how some of it is used to kind of keep a kid struggling, especially students that don't have the structural formations at the home. So then how can we talk about ways that teachers can be gritty in their thought processes and how they can utilize giving, a rubric as to how you're thinking versus inputting a homework assignment, and or maybe a combination of both? So what do you have there for us? Like what ideas come to your mind for that?
I think it's important for teachers to collaborate with other teachers.
Yes.
And get a common understanding.
Exactly.
And I believe very strongly also that teachers with administrators and administrators with teachers should also have a common understanding.
Yes.
I think to me, one of the biggest and most important questions to ask in a school system, or not a system, I don't want to say a system, in a school building. What does math success look like?
And they have to want that.
And if you have a principal working with a teacher, or a teacher working with a principal, and they don't have the same definition of what math success looks like, then the question you asked, we can't even begin to approach.
Right.
Because now, once we say, what does math success look like, and we have a common understanding, okay, so now what does homework look like? What's our purpose for homework? And what do we even want homework? Does it make sense for us to have homework?
Yeah.
What do assessments look like? Do we have common assessments? Should we have common assessments? What does that look like? What are we trying to search for? What does a classroom setting look like? And I'm talking, when I said setting, like I said setting, I'm not talking about I'm talking about you walk in, the first thing you see is the setting.
Yeah.
I don't see the kids all the time, but you see, like, are we in rows? Are we in an environment conducive to collaboration? Like what's on the walls? Does it look like Pinterest threw up on your walls, or is it like actually student work?
Exactly.
Like, and like, are we valuing like the students there? And then dive into like the actual, what I asked, like, what does math success look like in your school? Like, what math are the kids doing? How are they engaging with math? Do they see the true beauty in mathematics, or are they thinking that the beauty, quote unquote, that we are talking about in mathematics is what's in their textbook? That's a problem.
That is.
We want, like, so to me, what there's not an easy answer without the definition.
Right. Now I want to back up a little bit. So you said, do they see the beauty in math or just like what's in the textbook? I'm gonna post that question. I'm gonna give a shout out to a principal that just retired in Hillsborough County, Mr. Morrill, who he was really big on this. So he had a philosophy, and what a man, what a wonderful principal. He had a philosophy that real teaching is student led, and two, if a teacher is a good teacher, you will see student work on the wall and you'll hear it in the conversations. So he used to go and do teacher evaluations, and he wouldn't even listen to what we were saying, really. He would listen to parts of it, but he would listen to the students. He would listen to student math discourse, right? And then he would ask a student and say, hey, how's she doing? How's he doing? Right? And he would ask the student, and whatever the student said, that is how he judged the teacher. Mm-hmm. I thought it was powerful. And he sometimes would target the kids sitting in the back, right? Because he knew, like, if they're in the back of the room, let's see if they're getting it or not. So what you're saying right here, that would require teachers to really help students to understand that conceptual understanding about math, right? Versus just, it's in the book and this is what they said. Now, this makes me pivot to now teacher competency. I think this is an elephant in the room that we don't really talk about because we're so desperate at times to get teachers in the room, right? We're desperate to have bodies, like actual people that know what they're doing versus the substitute. So we'll take what we can take. Right now in the state of Florida, that's what it kind of feels like. But whenever you're dealing with that, there's an area, an issue of teacher competency where teachers don't feel as gritty towards doing this because they don't want to be exposed for not knowing deeper levels conceptually of the math, you know? So how do you help a teacher with that? And when I talk, this now makes me think about the GRIT framework, which talks about having a growth mindset, resilience, self-efficacy, and time management. So this makes me think of the self-efficacy of our teachers. They need support. And some of them don't feel as gritty because they feel like they can't do it. Right. Mm-hmm. And they might struggle with that anxiety. They might struggle with, a fear of failure, or they may even struggle with imposter syndrome. Like, I shouldn't be teaching calculus. I shouldn't be teaching, IB, whatever they're teaching, because they feel like maybe the teacher across the room is more qualified, or this person has more degrees than me. But yeah, I'm supposed to be the one to dig the math from these kids to dig up that conceptual understanding and to make them feel like they really want them to learn about math and not just do it because it's problem 6 through 10 and I assigned it. So with that, like, it makes me think, like, how then do we help teachers shift towards, maybe wanting to pursue a path of having that competency in what they're doing, and what resources or what suggestions do you have for them? Maybe if they feel like, I'm not the one, I don't know that I can do that work.
Well, first of all, yes, you can. Like, absolutely 100% you can. So I think it's important for any teacher to understand the shift historically. Years and years ago, it was all about mathematics. And it was just the math reigned supreme. It was all mathematics.
Pure math, right.
Yes. Over the last 10 to 15 years, we've realized in order for students to really engage in the mathematics that we need to focus on pedagogy. But it's like things are pushing like this and going opposite directions now, because the pedagogy only side is clear over on one side, and the mathematics side is clear over on the mathematics side. And what we're forgetting is that, like, they need to come together and it needs to be content pedagogy and not just the content, not just the pedagogy. Right. Yeah. So there's that. And then the second part of that is as building administrators and district administrators, you have to understand that that's a problem. You have to understand that you have teachers who need supported, which means that you need to be intentional and build in professional development and coaching for your teachers. Like, invest in proper math coaching. Oh, you don't have the funding for that? Okay. You don't have the funding to hire a person? Well, find math education companies. Like, in, I guess, shameless plug, but at Innovamat, we are a math education company that, yes, we have curriculum. Yes, we have intervention, but we do PDs and coachings. Like, about the content, about the mathematics, because we want you to see it and be comfortable with the beauty of mathematics. And yeah, we're going to show you some pedagogy to help that come to life a little bit, but the math is the true leader there.
Right.
And that's what we care the most about. So in terms of resources, I mean, one, look up Innovamat for one, but two, there are other really great, and I know as soon as I start announcing any of them, I'm going to leave people out. But some of my favorites that are about like the mathematics side of things, like Robert Kaplinsky's Open Middle, like that's such a beautiful site. And I know you talked about Robert earlier with your grassroots workshops, but there's so many cool things that he's doing that's centered around the mathematics side of it. And I think about, the sense of belonging and making sure that it's not just belonging with the kids feeling like they belong, but teachers feeling like they belong.
Yes.
And I think about, like Dr. Christopher Childs and how he's talking about like shifting from away from the I do, we do, you do, and like making it about the kids and making it about the children in front of you.
Yeah.
And like, so I think about, his work. And then and the list really goes on. There are so many people.
There are certain authors like Dr. Shelley Jones and Lou Matthews.
I have that book here somewhere. It's back here.
It's culturally relevant math tasks. That is a powerful book, because what you're saying, what I am finding, Rob, is what you're saying. I'm gonna let you finish this, but we're leaving certain diverse kids out, right? And so it gets really wonky because we're doing it, but it's not quite gelling like we want it. Like the engine, there's some kinks in the engine that we need to work out, and so I think this is kind of like what you're saying. It's like it's helping our engines run smoothly. So continue with maybe some others.
Yeah, I mean, like this, the Figuring Out Fluency book that I have sitting behind me is with Jennifer Bay Williams and John Sangiovanni, and they're talking about their work around like what is true fluency. Like that's so beautifully written, and they have like a few books that are in this like in the series of the Figuring Out Fluency.
And Dr.
It's so beautifully written. What's that?
Dr. Nikki Newton and all of her.
I'm getting there, Dr. Nikki Newton. Well, yeah, doctor with the running records, absolutely. I mean, look, the list. Here's the thing: is I'm going to forget somebody because the list keeps going on.
We love all of you.
I love them all. Like I created a website years ago that I don't promote as much anymore because I haven't given it as much love. But it had all these different people and all these who do like amazing math things. Pam Harris. Oh, math is figure outable. All Pam Harris stuff.
This podcast too. She's wonderful.
She's wonderful. And but her work, and especially when she speaks about like problem strings and like number strings, like there's so much there. I mean, heck, we kind of gave her a shout out a little bit at our session at the NCTM NCTE conference where we built the 17 times tables in our session, and we did it using problem strings. So it's like, I mean, there's so many beautiful people out there who are doing some amazing work, and I have left out so many of my favorites,
and they're all so pretty.
They are all in each of their own, like they are. Yeah. But like so to my message to teachers are like, don't think you're alone here. At one point, Twitter was a beautiful place for math educators. At this point, I don't know what social media is good for math educators. We don't know where to go. Right? We're a little lost, but like if you know who the people are, and if you head out to some conferences, right? Yeah. When you go to these conferences, there's some beautiful math being shown and shared. Yeah. But also, you may go into some sessions where they don't talk math at all. So like you have to know what's for you and where you are in your math journey as an educator. Okay, so let's say you don't have the money for that. That's fine. Again, there's places to go. Like
Making Math Moments is a free conference.
Making Math Moments.
They can get all that free content, pedagogy. They can get as much grit as they want on that platform. Those are wonderful people, John Orr and the crew. So
John and Kyle actually helped us get our podcast started. It gave us all the ins and outs, and so we enjoy those two so much. They've been on our podcast a couple of times, and we've been on theirs many times, and so I mean, like there are free. I mean, sometimes NCTM will offer some free trainings, and some of these, like some of your local regional conferences, go to some of those. Those are a little bit more affordable.
Right.
Reach out to your local educational service agencies, which is even more affordable. They have some really great math people there who may not be big named people, but they understand math, and then they can point you in the direction for everybody that we just talked about.
Right. Exactly.
Right? And I want to bring up one more thing, because you mentioned it about that there are pockets of students that often get left out.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
The other.
And yes, they're othered. So they often get left out. And my issue with all of that is that when we talk about whether it's social emotional learning or it's equity in mathematics, that oftentimes it's framed from administration as another thing to do.
Yeah.
Which teachers have way too much to do.
Too much.
There's too much on their plate.
It's just too much.
But what they have to understand is it's not another thing. Yeah. It's actually good teaching.
It's embedded.
So when we talk about, and we talk about equitable math instruction, like focusing on the process, not the answer. Like that's equitable math teaching.
So, but the thing is, some of these teachers, like especially, in my wonderful state, they don't want to get canceled with the work of DEI, and they're being careful with how they are sorting and all these things, as we talked about in person. And, so how can they do this without feeling like this is going to ruin my career or get me fired?
Yeah, how I love this. I mean, I love this question. I love this question so much, because my answer to them is, how are you going to get canceled? You just teach them well. Like if it's, if you're actually just doing the work, right?
Wow.
And I'm like, just do the work, make it about the kids. And I'm trying to pull up my my notes here so I can make sure, because I don't want to speak to where and I miss something, right?
Yeah.
So things like focusing on the reasoning, not just the right answer. Value teamwork and collaboration over independent practice.
Wow.
Making sure that that mistakes are addressed as opportunities to learn. Like that's my favorite mistake. That like rigor is not like just difficulty or giving them more problems. Rigor is like deeper thinking.
Let's go. Listen, I'm gonna pause you on that one. The word rigor and grit versus rigor and grit, what it really is, because we have to preach to the choir here, because people feel like when you have grit and rigor that it has to be like this this tumultuous task of like taking like the gritty rock, and you're pushing it up the hill and you're sweating bullets and you're barely making progress. And they feel like grit is assigning 27 chapters to read today, due at 5 p.m. Totally unrealistic. I think it's oppressive abuse, right? So can we stop there and talk about that? Because we need to understand the difference between what this really is and what people think it is.
Yeah. So my let's talk about it like in like Algebra 1 standpoint, right?
Sure.
So in Algebra 1, I think traditionally everywhere, from the way I learned, the way you learned, the amount of times that we sat there with graph paper and drew out 15 to 20 slope, y equals mx plus b slopes, right? And we just kept doing it over and over and over and over. Okay, so that to me is, and they say it's rigorous because it's like we're doing 15 to 20 of these.
Yeah.
No, it's time consuming BS. Because to be completely honest, if we want rigor in a task like that, how about we ask the students, what does this mean?
Yeah.
If this were like the slope that you drew, like if this were a like walking a distance over time, what does this point mean on the graph? Or if we're talking profit, like what does that profit look like? And especially like, okay, now we extend up to more into the upper high school, we talk about like exponential functions, and you're like, okay, so what does that actually mean?
Right.
Not the fact that you could do it. I mean, hell, we have Desmos calculator that is a beautiful tool that can help us just plot it. But if you want to talk rigorous, like what does that actually mean?
Right.
And then maybe we ask like if this was our business, how excited would we be? Or when will we get bankrupt? Like, like that's a great question to ask kids.
Systems of equations. It would be a perfect example of that, right?
Yeah. And so let's talk elementary too. Let's talk, because I don't want to leave out. Let's talk elementary too. So we have kids that are doing, 3 times 5, 100 times. They're doing their 3 times tables, and it's on a spreadsheet that at the bottom it says like, I'm not shouting out any worksheet company. Anyway, so it's at the bottom. It's some worksheet company that you can just, and they're not even affiliated with anybody. It was probably a teachers pay teachers.
Oh goodness, right.
All right. So they have this, and it's like, oh, well, we did this time testing. Like, look at how many multiplication these kids are doing. Like what? Like at a Novamat, we have this task at a Novamat that's called multiplicative persistence, and it's essentially the hundreds times tables, and it's all double digits, anything double digits from 10 to 99. And the question we ask is, what double digit number has the largest persistence? And what persistence is you take 2 digits. So let's say the number 36, and I split the 3 and the 6. 3 times 6 is 18. Oh, so I still have a double digit. Okay, so now I have 18. I split 1 and 8. 1 times 8 is 8. Okay? So with 36, we split once. 18, we split once. And now we have a single digit, number 8.
Right.
Okay, so that's a persistence of 2 because we split it twice.
Okay.
So if I have 10 to 99, what number between 10 to 99 has the largest persistence?
That's good.
That's a rigorous task, because now students are doing their multiplications. They're practicing basic multiplication, but also they're trying to determine patterns. Like, does it make sense for us to multiply every number that ends in a 0? Why? Well, because we're trying to find the biggest. Does it it's all like, that's a rigorous task. Why is it rigorous? Because the students are trying to find patterns. They're thinking. It's going deep into the process. And are they practicing? Absolutely. Why are they practicing? And why are they enjoying this? Because it's purposeful. Because it's productive.
And it's the metacognition. It's why we're doing what we're doing with that higher order thinking, the Bloom's taxonomy stems. There's a bunch of math stems on there that reminds me of that, what you were talking about, but how can teachers understand that like these rigorous tasks, this is a good thing, and that it's building grit? Because going back to this question, some teachers I've spoken to, they had a wrong concept of grit. Like they thought grit was, working out and lifting all the weights, and, the big bodybuilder guy that's about to break his back trying to lift the big crowbar thingies, right? They don't get it. They just don't get the concept of that inner drive, the grit, and how you're building that as you're going. Like, for instance, with the tasks, you have to have grit for that. You have to build grit, right, in order to do this. So how can teachers get out of the mindset of, oh, this is just another thing to do? Oh, I don't want to do these rigorous tasks because I already have so many papers to grade. I already have so much to do. How do they get out of that mindset and understand that this actually is really a catalyst? It's a key to being a game changer in the class for growing in levels of proficiency and in how students are achieving overall in their class.
Try it once. Allow the kids to talk to each other in small groups and listen. Just listen. Because as soon as you do that and you hear kids talking about math in a way that you said, wait a second, that girl hasn't spoken in my class all year and it's February. Why is she talking about math? And I didn't even know she knew anything about math.
Right.
Well, did you ever ask her? Did you ever ask her, like, what are your thoughts?
I love that.
I had that student that's yeah. I mean, I think so. I was working with a teacher, a third grade teacher once, and he's brilliant. He's former military, a little bit like tough on the kids, but also like it's super love, and like the kids love him. Yes, he'll do goofy things and stuff, but like he keeps them in line,
right?
Because from his background. And so I started working with him, and he looked at me. He's like, "Well, I need to see data. He pressed on me,
yes.
And all I asked him to do, I said, just one time, just try it.
Yeah.
And so he planned. He didn't want to plan with me, and then he said, "Hey, could you come into my room, and let's see this one time." He had a group of third graders that were practicing multiplication and thinking about like the area model, and he had them moving their desks around to arrange them in arrays.
I like it.
And he had them working together to do it. And then he got to the point, he's like, all right, here's the next one. And you might have to do this as a whole class because it's going to be tough.
Oh, that's so
and he's
powerful.
like, all right. He's like, 5 times 6. and he goes, but
yeah,
you're not allowed to speak. And they're like, so like the nonverbal that's happening. And he came over to me, and I bleep this out if I'm not able to swear on here. But he came over to me and he goes, hey man, this Rob shit works. And I'm like, I said, well, it's not my thing. It's not like I didn't create this. These are ideas that people have shared, and that it's just good practice to have kids moving things around.
It's freedom in the classroom. We're getting away from that. We need to get back to that, where that's why you teach. You know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like, honestly, straight up, teachers feel like they have been robbed from that moment.
Mm-hmm.
They have been robbed with the paperwork and the assignments and the politics and foolishness. They feel like they can't do that.
Right.
They need to be empowered again. So what advice do you have regarding, like, if they want to implement an activity like this throughout the week? How many times can they do that? How can they stay on schedule with their curriculum guide to make sure that they're covering all of the topics? What advice do you have for implementing something like that?
Look, this isn't easy. Start with one time in a week. Just try one. Make it planned intentionally. So I actually did training this morning with a group of teachers, and we talked about the difference between lesson planning and intellectual preparation. And lesson planning is like following a guide. I guess if I say this on video, then I can claim it's mine. I don't know where I got it from. But so what I asked was, so give me a recipe for making spaghetti with red sauce and homemade garlic bread. And they started, listing, how to do everything. And I said, okay, now let's pretend I'm a 13-year-old boy in your kitchen, getting ready to cook spaghetti for the first time.
Right.
Yeah. I said, getting ready to cook spaghetti for the first time. Now what do you say? It's like, well, get the pot, like the medium pot that has the chip in the side, get that one. We're going to put the water in about halfway.
Yeah.
And then when you turn on the stove, like make sure you hit the knob that's at the far right on the top. That's going to give you the front burner. And once you turn that on, if you wait like 15 seconds, it's going to be hot. Don't touch it. Yeah. Like those type of so intellectual preparation is like we are trying to get we're identifying misconceptions, identifying questions we could ask, points that we could stop, and things like that, right? So what I'm telling teachers as advice, don't follow the lesson plan blindly. Matter of fact, take a look at it one time, throw that crap out. And how about you go into it and be intellectually prepared?
They have to understand, though.
Understand the math that's happening. What math do we want the kids doing?
They're hiding behind the lesson plan and behind some of the textbook because they don't know what they're doing, some of them.
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes the student comes at you in an IB class and they're on your level, they get quiet. I'm not quite sure. And it's like, we as teachers, we have to do our part too. You know,
Right.
you're getting a paycheck, right? You're getting a career to make the lives of our students more proficient and better so that they can go out and work for the Elon Musks and the Bill Gates and whoever else that they want to work for. Or if they want to go to Mars, if they want to run a business, that they'll be competent financially, mathematically, in all of those areas. And you can have your bid in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what you're saying can't be done if these teachers aren't competent and if they don't have that self-efficacy.
Oh, you're 100% right. The other part of that, and I want to share this, is like when that teacher, that third grade teacher I was talking about, when he tried this, like that was not in a lesson plan from the curriculum from the publisher. That wasn't there. The task that he was supposed to do that day, or the math that was supposed to happen that day, kids were supposed to be exploring arrays.
Oh, wow.
That was the math around it.
Yeah.
And then he said, well, what if the kids were doing this physically?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, but it doesn't say that in your book. He goes, does that matter? Like, he kind of paused for a second. I went, no, because the idea behind it is the math. The math is what should live.
Right.
And if you want to take something because you know your kids and you want to shift how you approach that and to get them to explore the mathematics and see it, like visually see it and be able to that CRA approach, the concrete representational abstract.
Yeah.
The most concrete you can do is using their physical beings. Like, let's do that.
Kinesthetic learning. Yeah.
A lot of that, right? So like, and then he did it and he's like, man. And so like he would do like one a week for a while. Then he tried two. And his biggest issue wasn't so much of coming up with stuff, but like releasing control and allowing kids to explore. And then once he realized that they were doing really good okay, to your point, they're talking about test scores. Oh, I don't have time. My test scores, his test scores went up by like 9% in 1 year because he decided to do things in a way to get the kids to engage in math and learn it in a deeper way. That's rigorous. Beautiful. That's rigorous.
The results show that it's worth it. It's worth that investment. Yeah. And that's why you need a lesson plan. It's not necessarily to know this is what the curriculum guide says and this is what I need to do. It's how can I be innovative? How can I be creative? How can I make this math come off the page and become a reality and live in my classroom? Is your classroom living? Like, is it a place that kids want to come and evolve into mathematicians, or is it like just this, I come home from, or I came to work from Dunkin' Donuts and I'm tired and I just put my cup down and I'm sitting at my computer and I'm hanging out on Facebook or Snapchat or TikTok, and yelling at the kids and telling them to do these 20 problems. Like, I mean, what is it going to be? And the thing is, the power is in the hand of these teachers, and I love how you said, when you're trying to service all learners, it's not another thing to do. You just have to be creative. And this is a perfect opportunity to do it. Everyone needs to get up and do this, So I think this is so wonderful. So with that said, I do want to kind of wrap this up. And I just want to ask, like, for the new teacher or maybe the burned out teacher, what advice do you have for them regarding, to continue to have that resilience and that grit so that they don't give up?
I said it before, you're not alone. The worst thing, the absolute worst thing that can happen to our educational system are teachers leaving. Teachers are the backbone. So if you're burnt out, I am so sorry that's happening to you. Reach out, find, whether it's Indy, whether it's me, whether it's whomever, reach out, because we could try to come up with some ideas on how to reignite that flame, because we all got into this for a reason. We got into this for an impact that we wanted to make on kids.
Yes.
And as soon as we start to lose track of that, and yes, you're going to say, well, but what, my administration is losing track of that. Right. Check them. Yeah. Let them know. Like, hey, I thought this was about kids, not some bureaucratic red tape. And
wow, that's good.
Make it. And then for new teachers, don't give up. guess what? My first 2, 3, 4, 5 years, man, I stunk. I was not good. Like, I got better each year. But that first year, man, I wouldn't send my kids to me.
I know. Like, I wrote up so many kids, it was ridiculous. Yeah. I thought that was my purpose, was writing them up and getting them suspended like a hot mess.
I felt good about it too.
Yeah, I know.
And then later in my career, I think my last like 3 years when I was in the classroom, I had one write-up because a kid said an F word in front of the rest of the kids. And I was like, and it was in a place where that's not commonplace.
Yeah.
And so I wrote him up and then kind of pulled him aside. I'm like, I got to do this just because, just know, like you're going to get a slap on the wrist. I'm just going to tell you, don't do it again, bring you back.
Yeah.
And he was mad. And then the very next day I greeted him with a smile. I was like, my man, what's up? And he's like, he goes, hey man, you were right. I just got a slap on the wrist. He goes, I won't say it again. I got you. Like, right. But like it went from me writing up everybody to like controlling my class. Why? Like, how did I control them? I kept them engaged. Like we did math and was it loud? Yeah. Why was it loud? Because they were talking about math and getting excited. Yeah, and was every day like that? No, not every day was like that. So new teachers, do the best you can. Keep working, keep getting better. Every day is going to be a journey and you're going to get better each day. Reach out to veterans who you see doing some innovative, creative things. If you see people just doing Stand and Deliver, if you don't know what that movie is, go look it up. Look up Lean on Me, look up Stand and Deliver, look up Boy Meets World, Mr. Feeney, look up all of these professors and everybody from TV shows and don't do anything they're doing. Just do, like, other than Mr. Feeney loved his kids. Do that. Other than Freedom Riders, she loved those kids.
Oh, yes.
Do that. She had some creative ideas. Like do some of that. But like, if you're Joe Walker on Lean on Me walking around with a baseball bat in your classroom, like don't do that.
You know, like, Freedom Riders, like that needs to be what we strive to be in the classroom. You know, that would be a wonderful movie to watch for all teachers, I think, before they go into this new school year, especially with all the cancellation and foolishness. How did she navigate that world, right? Being totally different, feeling maybe a little bit like she didn't belong and, you know, all of this. But she did her best each day. She got better each day, just like you're saying. I think that's a great movie that you pointed out. So, so I appreciate that advice, Rob. And, you know, again, and I commend you for all that you're doing, and kudos to you for all of your accomplishments and, you know, how you've been able to now go from just your little classroom to now 10 countries and, you know, continuing to grow beyond. So I commend you for that. I commend the work that you guys are doing over there. And hopefully I'll see you guys again at camps. I'd be honored to give you guys a shout out even in my session. But with that said, I do want to say, people are going to want to reach out to you, Robert, and I appreciate you again for being here on this show. How can people reach you for those that are interested in connecting with you?
Yeah, biggest thing is social media wise, I've kind of distanced myself from most other than LinkedIn. And then anything else that I have is very private and I keep it that way. But reach out to me on LinkedIn, through a DM or whatever. My Innovamat email is rob.buyer@innovamat.com. Okay. And if you have show notes, you can throw that in the show notes, and I'll send it to you. Well, I mean, you have it. So yeah, those two ways are the easiest ways to reach out to me. If you want to talk more about this, if you want to, pick my brain on something, that's great. Like, look, at Innovamat, we're not salesy. we are about math. So if you want to, reach out and talk about math, let's do that. If you want to reach out and be like, look, I'm curious like you talked about a couple of things, but like, what's this all about? Like you have this endorsement from Building Thinking Classrooms with Peter Liliendahl, and what's this all about?
Right.
I'm cool with talking to you about that too. But if you just want to call and and let's do a math talk, let's math talk. Also, I'm traveling a lot at all these conferences and stuff. If you watch this and then you end up seeing in San Antonio at Camped, if you were there, if you're at NCTM, NCSM in Atlanta, CMC South in Palm Springs, the BTC conference in Seattle, I'll be there. Come find me. Say, hey, I saw you. And as long as you name drop India, like we'll be fine.
That's right. Y'all.
But no, I listen. I'm super approachable. If you see me out, come talk to me. Otherwise, you can reach out to me. In LinkedIn or through my email at Novomet.
Well, again, thank you so much, Rob, for joining us on the real or on. Thank you so much, Rob, for joining us again on the Let's Get Gritty podcast. I'm super thrilled to have you. You have been fabulous. I can't wait to see you at camps. And for you guys watching, thank you so much for always showing up every time. That means the world to me. Make sure you connect with Rob. And until next time, stay gritty. See ya.